Okay.
I'm sorry, Bill, who made that motion?
Oh, I did.
And who seconded it? Thank you. I was having issues with recording here, but I'm on track now.
Okay, planning items work session. We don't have any, do we?
We have none.
Okay.
Yes, we are taking.
So correspondence, we have Southampton Town monthly report, which I guess Carrie will, it's in the book here. Carrie will deal with that at the next meeting. We got a chunk of money from the state DOT. Somewhere there's a check for.
Well, we didn't get the check yet, so
Oh, we didn't get
what
the check.
that report is, the report that we get from the DOT, and that shows us the monies that we can get reimbursed for. So it's a total of, they have different, the chips, the pave, the EWR, and the pop is the new one, potholes, I believe it is.
Oh,
So those are the amount of monies, and that's all based on how many road mileage we have. I send the report in September each year, and that's how all of this is based. We have no rollover because I put in for the Hedges, I'm sorry, the Daniels Lane repave and brought that balance to zero. So this 98,619 I would put in for the Hedges Lane repave. It's due tomorrow. No, it's due on Friday. So I'll see if I can get it done by Friday. If not, I'll have to put it in for the next round. But
Yeah,
that,
okay.
so then that money would go into the capital highway improvement fund.
So is there any scheming involved? I mean, in terms of us doing something to qualify or?
Nope. Nope, I just have to certify the road mileage each year.
Oh, okay, so it's simply, even if we don't spend it?
Correct.
Oh,
So if
okay.
you don't spend it,
Okay, so there's
but you
no.
have to spend it on.
It's reimbursement. We have to spend it to be reimbursed.
That's correct.
Oh, I see.
That's right.
Okay.
That's how they get you.
Right.
They just don't give it to you in the
Right,
budget. It's a
exactly.
check. You have to submit for an invoice for reimbursement.
And I mean, it can roll over for 2 or 3 years, but with our
Okay.
program, you know, we do it each year, so.
So those three different portions,
I'm sorry.
those 3 different portions are targeted for, I mean, if we're not doing potholes, I mean, if we do major repays, I mean, how do we just make sure we?
It doesn't break it down that much, but
Oh,
when I
okay.
fill out the forms, I just put it in the roads that we did,
Okay,
so.
We've been
repave,
paving though
potholes,
every year,
Yeah,
so there's
Right.
always
Yeah.
something.
I'm just wondering if there's something to worry about in terms of we should
You're not
do this, so we get
No.
that.
it's
Yeah.
not that specific.
Okay, good.
If you're repaving, you just fixed your potholes,
Oh,
so.
I see. Okay, yep.
Yeah.
Let's see, old business, 408 Narrow East, the license. Has that ever been pulled back, the request for that license to?
So there was a discussion with the attorney, and he hasn't formally withdrawn, as far as I know, right? We haven't gotten a formal withdrawal.
On 408,
Yeah.
no.
So I think we should just
He
continue.
doesn't want, no, he doesn't want to return, he wants to have it. The last was that you had asked that he remove that eastern portion
Right.
of the building, and Brian related that to the attorney. Did you speak with Wayne today?
Not today.
Okay, I did speak with
Oh,
Wayne
okay.
today, and he is going to provide, the homeowner is not, doesn't want to do that.
Yeah,
He
no, he
is
called me
providing,
directly, the homeowner did.
Okay.
I mean, just down the road. from
right,
me.
right, yeah.
Right,
And he's providing documentation that has been there prior to the 60s. That's
Yeah.
been there, the encroachment has been there, but that's
do we have to
what it
accept
is.
that? I mean.
No.
Yeah, okay, because that's a whole different thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I've looked at it and it's something that's built, since zoning.
Yep.
And it's, it's built on our right of way.
I relate back to Wayne that Mr. Bruin, that that the homeowner should consider removing that wooden structure if he wanted the accommodation for the encroachment that's
Right.
going to be in the building way. And he had an adverse reaction to that. And it wasn't an issue of pre-existing or age or any of those kind of things. It was that this wooden structure, if we're addressing the property, that wooden structure is an obstruction to visibility. And it's a concern for the village. So if we're doing one thing for you, you should do one thing on a request for us from a safety standpoint. And that was the last I heard from Mr. Bruin directly. But I knew that he had the
He's gonna
homeowner had an
provide
adverse.
provide us
well, that's
documentation.
interesting,
So I said,
because
well, provided
the
the board will
homeowner
take a
said
look
that
at it.
he was just gonna pull it, but obviously he
No,
changed his
He has
mind.
not pulled it yet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
no,
Just gonna continue on the agenda till,
yeah, so you should
Sure.
do a resolution to adjourn until.
Well, we need to let, okay,
I'll do the
I mean,
resolution.
and I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, we got reimbursed for the Suffolk County Water Authority putting in that main or repaving costs. Public portage lots. We actually got a price, cool, from, was it Call Ahead?
Yeah, I actually sent it out. I sent an email to the town clerk. I never heard back from her regarding what they do in the town. I did it to Call Ahead and I did it to, what was the other one? Outback
Norsec?
Portable?
Yeah.
No, well, Norsec is now United,
Oh, really?
yes. And so I called all three of them. They were supposed to get back to me. The only one I heard back from via email was Call Ahead. And Call Ahead has the county
Right.
contract on it,
Yeah, I
so,
mean, that looks
That's-
real reasonable
yeah.
from the last time we ever had.
yes.
Yeah. How quick we gonna do this? I mean, will you guys go along with that, 3/4 jobs?
Where are we talking?
The one by my house. So I'm
How long
not,
was
it's
that?
not my backyard, it's across the street from me, because people
Yeah.
stop and they be in the woods all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the other one was corner of Peters Pond Lane and Daniels. I go put it on the trailhead, but Lisa said we should really put it like that guy's plantings, you know, is illegal plantings.
yeah. Off, will it be on Peters Pond, but off Daniels?
Yeah, it would be like this around the corner a little bit. Is that-
Less visible because it's like what Marilyn had said, and I agree with her about Sag Pond too, is they need to not be in the scenic view, so to speak.
Right,
Right. And the third one?
And it's hard, like with Sag Pond, it's like everybody's gonna use that as destination to stop and be there. You know, you don't want
Yeah.
people coming specifically to use the porta potty, even if they're not having business in Sagaponic. I mean, but that's, you know, I know you're doing it for the walkers and the runners, but I have a
well,
hard
for
time.
the workers, we have a huge number of workers. so-
But don't the workers have to, well, not the landscapers, but
The
they have to have
landscapers are-
porta johns on the work sites.
Yes.
Well, the construction
So,
site,
yeah.
sure, but everybody else who does the maintenance,
Right.
and with cameras in backyards, it's not a nice situation.
Can we, I was telling Bill about the idea, Carrie and I talked about it too, of making the porta johns have like a little barn structure around them with a huge open door that unlashes for, on the side for servicing. So they look like little sheds and you can
Right.
hang some buoys from them.
Okay. I can
And
go
they
along with that.
look, for lack of a better term, part of the scenic
Right,
farm looking area. And that made me feel better. I think part of the problem with the pond is you can't block the ramp. You're gonna have to find a way where you can even put it, that it's not in that parking area
right,
off somehow. And we probably should increase that parking area a little bit east because people
Yeah,
are
for the
parking
summer,
all over the
sure.
place. On a weekend, I think it parks 4 people comfortably. On a weekend, it's a pretty busy
It
place.
is busy.
yeah.
So,
And is there, I know, that I should know this because we had a plan, but is it impossible to have a public bathroom or ask for a public bathroom, and they're gonna kill me, in the post office, the new post office?
You know, federal, I mean, you can negotiate probably for a few years, but
I don't
You know, they're
think,
doing-
I
Did
I
they
don't
have
think the
that?
federal government's gonna give us a break on that one.
I know the
That shows
post
her it's their
office,
call anyway, might be the.
no,
owner of the
Well, I was
building.
thinking about the owner of the building, you know, and I like didn't look, it didn't even occur to me until the porta potty item came up. It'd be so nice if we had a municipal bathroom somewhere, you know.
yeah, it just gets expensive to have it.
Well, we should also encourage
That's kind of like.
Southampton
it's kind of
Town.
porta potty for a while.
to leave the bathrooms open at the beach.
Right.
Or if not, allow for, you know, when you go to a wedding or a graduation party or something, and they have those like trailers that just have like 4 stalls in them.
Right.
They're expensive.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
That's why you have a price of $100. It's your basic minimum, as you can see on there. If you want to have in your, the headliners, the head mist, if you want to have little dispensers in there, if you want to have the antiseptic, these are all cost additional monies. This is the bottom of the line. You can go with those trailers and they're about,
Oh, I have no clue.
yeah, $3,000 just for the 2-seater trailer for an event.
Oh, so the rent per
Wait.
month.
So, yeah,
Well,
for
but-
one event.
You know how we finally got the town to collect garbage longer and leave the cans out?
Yeah.
I think the garbage collection at the beach ends just don't magically end on Labor Day. I mean, people still go to the beach. There's things that are going on. That and leaving those bathrooms open in some kind of fashion would be important at Sagme.
I think that'd be great, because then off season at least, people would have a place that they could go. Right, if
That's Parks and Rec. You'd have to ask them whether or not they'd consider that.
if you want to give them a try, go for it. But, I mean, a friend of mine badgered him until he died, literally, for years.
what?
A friend of mine badgered them for years.
Oh, Parks and Rec,
Yeah.
got it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Parks and Rec, and they changed and went through third Parks and Rec. He's dead now, so. But he got absolutely nowhere.
Oh.
But I did get picnic tables. I told Rhodey called up and we
So
got
that
picnic
was you?
tables.
got the
Yeah,
picnic tables in Sagme?
I asked Rhodey to call first. And
That's
she called up.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Why
what is
not
a
look at the
picnic
picnic tables?
On the pavilion deck
Yeah,
area.
picnic tables on the pavilions and the
Oh,
lifeguards.
Sagme?
Yeah, and the lifeguards have a picnic table, which is great. They can have lunch. And then they have a garbage bag there during, the daytime, so people, if they see it, can throw their
Right.
garbage out. And then there's an additional garbage can on the pavilion, which is, the beach is, I'm gonna go there soon, and just like where the people wait, there's so much garbage, it's disgusting. So,
They're not picking it up because they used to pick it up at the beginning of the day.
It's not every day.
so they're,
Anymore.
so they're,
For a while there, it
so
wasn't.
the hut is there, and this is where the cars line up
Yeah.
on the street. Like last year, they were asked to pick it up, and they just, it is,
Yeah.
it is really bad.
The beach needs to be cleaned up.
And the beach is so dirty. Remember that wonderful man who cleaned the beach on Thursdays? I remember last year you called, and he actually came like one time after, the guy with the,
Oh, that, yeah.
David,
he's
Uncle David.
incredible.
I December.
I really appreciate that guy.
But yeah, we have some maintenance problems at all the beaches, garbage being one of them. And I think Parks and Rec really have to listen to us because we're in this together. And I don't see any reason why, obviously there comes a point of freezing of the pipes down there.
Right.
But I feel that could be used. And there could be a discrete small sign at Sag Bridge until we're able to come up. I don't want to just put the porta potty down unless we make the little thing around it or something. I just feel it would
It'd be
create upset
terrible. Yeah.
if we don't make it look cute
I agree.
or whatever. And the same would go for Gibson Beach or any other I just think all the options need to have some kind of shielding
Aesthetic,
device,
yes.
aesthetic looking
I
device.
agree.
Okay, so you
I would
would
rather
like,
see the, not at the bridge, but maybe we can put it at Sagme in the park, along the parking area, on the pond side that you're pull in, put it over there, that, we can
That's
leave
not our
that.
property.
Huh?
That's Southampton Town's property.
Well, we'd have to
Ask them if we can do it.
tell either that or keep the pavilion. I don't like the idea of entering Sagaponic over the bridge and having a porta.
I agree with you. I mean, I think.
I mean,
But
Sag is
maybe
such
if
a-
we make a shed out of it.
Sag Bridge is such a quaint entrance
It's it's like the most.
Sag-
beautiful-
So all the kayakers and Paddle Diva and Yoga Diva, or Yoga Paddler or something, it's the name on one of the trucks. They start them at Sag Bridge and then they move their trucks to get their equipment back at Sag Main Beach.
Oh,
So,
They
And
just
I
start on the
actually-
Sag Main Beach.
because I don't think people are strong enough to round trip, that's a good point. But not everyone can do that physically, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every so often, when the wind is bad on the ocean side, they go down to White Rock, which is
Well, they go, under-
impossible.
they can't
Yeah.
go, they're not going under the bridge the last week or so.
Ugh, No, but so at some point too, I mean, the season is almost over. We maybe need to start collecting the names of these companies and have a little meeting with them and explain, this is, as you drop the boards off, you pull away, because people rent the boards.
Do they exchange money down there?
Well, I wouldn't know that because you'd have to look more carefully.
Just give me the names of the companies and I'll contact them.
Yeah, didn't we have
They're
that?
not supposed to be vending off of village property if they don't have a permit, and I can tell you they don't have a permit.
Oh, of course they don't have a print. I know you rent the boards when you do it. And they drop them, and sometimes I see a pile of them dropped and the trucks have left.
Right.
And then maybe the people pull up and then I don't know how they get back to their car, but maybe they have a friend that brings them all back to their cars. But anyway, we should find out how they're doing
Well,
this.
you tell me who it is, because
I will,
don't.
every time I see one, I will text, I will write it down.
Right.
And you too.
I had something on the Daring Harbor, the town, on Shelter Island, has a very.
Jim, just identify yourself.
Oh, sorry,
for the record.
James Prusky, homeowner on Daniels Lane. Daring Harbor has a very well-structured, non-plumbing bathroom, men and women, with a beautiful outside. I'll try and take a picture of it in the next couple of days.
Oh, wow.
It works well, it's aesthetically pleasing, and there's no plumbing.
so it's a composting one.
I
Okay,
don't know the process,
But we
but
we
it's.
want it to look good,
Yeah,
just.
no, but
because-
it
yeah.
looks, they've made it look, because it sits outside right on the water there.
Yeah.
I'll take a picture.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that might be good for Peters Pond too.
Yeah, Peters Pond Beach is another serious problem for
Yes.
garbage pickup and bathrooms.
Okay, so now Parks and Rec, I don't think it's gonna do the Peters Pond because that's Trustee Road.
But if we
But they
have,
might, I'm not gonna say.
we have
100%
ours
no.
on Daniels at that corner of Peter Pond and Daniels, somebody could hike down there if they wanted
Right,
to, I guess.
backing up to the request to have the bathrooms open at Sag Main Beach. So how long do you want me to ask them if they can keep it open until? I think, but I'm not positive. I know the beach is open till 9 o'clock. But I don't know if that's what time they close the bathrooms. Because that would
Oh, I don't
mean
know
somebody
either.
would
they
have
close
to
the
go down
bathrooms
to.
at 5
They
sharp.
closed
They
it.
do
Yeah,
close it
five
Right,
o'clock.
on the
Yeah, my
lifeguards.
lifeguards leave,
Or
yes.
the, okay.
Yeah.
And that's why they close at 5, because then
Right,
you
they
have to
have to-
send another employee out to close up the bathroom.
Right.
And then the next morning, they send somebody to clean. I think they get cleaned every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
you'd like us,
but that still doesn't address workers.
so, but what do you want me to ask them for? To keep it open till 9? How much longer do you want the bathrooms open?
Now, 9's probably too late. I mean, you're gonna get vandalized.
I don't know if the 5 is the problem, what I mean, longer, what I'm thinking in longer is into the fall.
Okay, so
And
you're not
into
talking
the
about the
spring.
day, the time of the day that they close, but rather the length into the season.
Right.
So are they closed down after Labor Day? Is that the last day?
Yeah, well, as soon as the lifeguards are
As soon
gone.
as the lifeguards are gone, the
Right.
bathrooms are closed.
So then I would ask them if they could extend the season to
October
End of
1st.
September, October 1st, October 31st.
October 1st. Or you want to go another one?
Well, they should have a portage on there all winter. They take that away too.
Yeah. Okay, so what am I telling them? Keep the bathrooms open till October 31st?
And leave the portage on all winter. It won't freeze.
Okay, so,
Both, I guess, they're asking for both.
okay, so keep the bathrooms open till October 1st, correct?
And open May,
And then reopen,
they need to be open Memorial Weekend, not just Saturday and Sunday, but
okay,
From-
then, so reopen,
and weekdays in June.
May. What are they in, so Memorial Day, so reopen Memorial Day. And it's okay to close at 5.
Yeah, the 5 doesn't bother me as much as the fact that they close, they're only open 10 weeks a year.
And then to have so they put the 40 there after they close the bathrooms, or is it there at the same time?
The portage on's there all the time
Okay,
until sometime in the fall when they pull
okay. And then to leave the portage on there all winter.
Yes. And clean it regularly. Whatever their contract normally does.
All of this is money to them, so you may get a big note, but I'll ask.
it. Yeah,
But what about if Zacatonic can have a budget for that?
Then the other piece of that would be, let me see what they say. If they respond, no, we can't do it, then perhaps we could offer some service. Pay for the portage on. Which would cost us,
$100 a
we
month,
only do it, pardon,
$100 a month, big deal.
I don't know, but
Yeah,
I don't have it in the budget this year,
Right,
so it would
yeah.
still be a cost that we would have to consider.
right.
And, you know, would be, I had based that year round on the ones that we want to put out, but this would be not as much, of course, because it's, you know, we have, I don't know, November, December, January, February, March, May.
Right,
So,
all right, we'll pass over that. But the Deering Harbor thing, we'll have to check that out and see what it is. I know they have composting toilets at the Montauk Camp Hero Park. But those are quite a big deal. We'll see what, and they're not attractive, but if this is attractive, that's a good call.
Camp Hero, the county park,
You go to the lighthouse and you go to the right.
but is it a county park?
No, it's state.
Okay, then it would be the state is the one that put that in, not the town.
Right, right, yeah.
And the other piece of this is, you want me to try and find somebody who would construct what I have in my head is an outhouse?
Yeah,
They sell them over on the North Shore.
They sell them?
Yeah, Walt King used to sell them over on the North Shore. Oh, he would go down
Oh,
to
that's right.
the Carolinas and
In the
pick
wood?
them up and drive them up, set them up. He had them out in his yard there for sale. I don't know if he's still-
They sell all kinds of sheds, pre-made sheds. You just drop it off and you stick the thing in it. That's a
Okay.
possibility.
Yeah,
I'll look into that.
well, that's the one on at Deering Harbor, that would be, I'd like to see that. That might be,
I'll get it for you as soon as I can.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on. Here we go. So we have a lot of input from people, emails, and so all the emails we got seem pretty coherent. And so I called up four of our residents, Jim Trustee, I assume that's why he's here. John Crane, who's on, you're on Daniels Lane. John Crane, who we've heard from before, who's on Town Line Road. David McMillan from Hedges Lane, and Joseph
Spanholz. Spanholz.
Spanholz,
Crestview.
yeah, on Crestview. And we actually met, a group of us got together and just hashed about a whole bunch of things. And I think we already sent you some notes from that meeting, if you had a chance to read them. And the group is going to work on collecting contact information. So, and also, I think Jim was going to write up a sample letter that you thought maybe to engage people. I think probably in a variety of things. I mean, the most basic thing, slow down and on the roads and force everyone else to go slow behind you, better behavior. But also expand our contact list, whether mailing or email, so we can distribute information to the actual residents of this place. And I think from the group, there was a general consensus that a trial of speed humps, speed tables would be helpful. I mean, I think they'll work, but I think we have to try them first and fine tune.
The option that works best for us,
Yeah, right. I think,
because they all are, at least the two I've observed, and the one that's behind Bridgehampton, they're all different.
oh, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Did you look at the one in Sag Harbor?
Yeah, I went over to Glover's.
Yeah, yeah.
Was it different than what we saw in Patchogue?
Yeah, it's different than Patcho.
Yeah, I kind of liked it better than Patchogue,
Oh,
but it's very rough. You have to go over it very slow. It was
that's what we
actually,
love.
well, you know, if you put it halfway down Hedges Lane, you want something that people can go 25, 30.
Yeah,
And
25
that's
is
not
okay.
it. That's much rougher.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, no, you,
I mean,
This-
that
this would be
streets are
something.
small, there's so much traffic, so when I went over, obviously I was probably going 15, it's very comfortable.
Put one in front of my house.
Yeah.
you want 15 over there? Oh, because I was looking and my wife Alice was driving, what was it, like 12, 11?
miles.
And how is it?
This is the one in Sag Harbor?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the truck, Bill?
Yeah.
Yes, well, that's the difference.
And what was it like?
I was in a sedan and
was
I
it?
went, I don't know if it was 15, I actually didn't look,
Yeah.
because it was before I called you, so I was like, oh, these are not so bad. But I
Yeah.
don't know how fast I
Well,
was
we
going.
need, I was thinking, okay, this was my thought. We ought to put something in Sag School. And the one over there at Glover Street, I guess if it's okay for a car, maybe we'll try it again. But that's a 12-foot. I actually got out and measured. I thought it was
Okay.
less than 12 feet, but it was actually 12 feet.
Right,
How high does it go? I mean,
It's probably this typical 3.5 inches. Oh, no.
Well, that'd be good.
It's
That's
not
yeah.
much.
right in front of my house.
That would be big. Yeah. Let's do that.
Really fun.
Right in front of my
I
house.
know people that would like to try it to see if they could go airborne.
Yeah.
Do that.
Do something along those lines at Sag School, all three roads, all three stop signs, you know. I want you to go with me, we'll measure it, but I was thinking somewhere between 100 and 150 feet from the stop sign. And I'm saying that we'll draw this up and then we'll throw it at the engineer and say, does this make sense? And then, you know, get a price on it. And he says, well, it really should be a little farther, it should be, you know, then we'll maybe,
Okay, yeah.
you know, let's give him something. Don't let him blue sky it and run up the bill on us. You know, I mean, we can come fairly close. And if he's really an expert, he'll be able to say, well, that's a little, you know, because people will be slowing down for a stop sign. So it doesn't have to be too easy to get over.
Right.
You know, if you're fairly close to the stop sign, you want this thing, if they're going to go through the stop sign, you want to let them know that you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also such a great location in the early morning and afternoon commute that starts sometimes at 2:30, depending on, you know, how long they've been out working. But they enter and exit our town, our village, excuse me, via Sag Road or Bridge Lane.
Right.
And the other, if they're going the other direction, it's Parsonage, Hedges, and Daniels.
Right.
So Sag Road, right at the school there, first of all, it's important to slow them down by the school as soon as we can do that.
The teacher was there when I was measuring. She came out, really? You're gonna do that? That'll be so
Oh,
nice.
Mrs. Lombardo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw their cars today.
Right,
So I think 3 of them at that corner area back from the stop sign, because there must be a distance back from a stop sign that is the right place of putting it.
right.
I don't know what that distance would be. And then I was talking to Bill on the phone yesterday, and my God, you get your mail, and if you're not on the post office side, it's dodgeable. And what, I don't know if we should do it now, but once they've moved the building and get a building permit and all that stuff happens, because you bring in big stuff to do stuff like that, and it does road damage, I would assume. I would put it before Sykes Store, whatever the amount of footage an engineer would feel. And I do one after, so when they turn up Hedges Lane to make the run to East Hampton in the commute, we've covered right before they start going up the hill by Don Lockheim's house there. And then later on, when, I don't know what any of this would cost, but when we look in the spring, maybe we'll have a better budgetary idea for putting several on the long straight hauls roads. I think doing it right near Hedges seems to get the most traffic. Daniels is the second, and Parsonage is not yet. Doesn't mean that won't happen, in my opinion, because eventually someone will figure that
Right.
option out. I think, and then on the north side of the highway, unfortunately, the town line leads to Narrow, so we have to deal with East Hampton to
Yeah.
bump that, but Narrow could use it, and we do have to address from Montauk Highway to the bridge anyway, paving wise, so you could do it all in the same package.
And Waynesburg
We haven't
Harbor.
done that one yet.
Waynesburg Harbor is also a pond that leads to
Yeah.
Narrow. Yeah.
But I thought part of, no, the right side is
Let me
still ours,
stop
I'm
you.
sorry.
Let me stop you. What I'm trying to do is get the first stage. And
No,
we're
you're right.
going out over a whole progression of things.
Long-term planning,
Yeah, I know, but let's get the first step.
first step is great.
I thought the 3 by the school and do Bridge Lane. We just got the stop signs.
Oh, those were
And-
so
and-
exciting
I
to
was
see.
so.
I was so
excited.
happy.
Where you- They were stopping.
It's us. Oh,
Yeah, I
That's the truth.
That's what I'm getting at. Let's have one before the stop sign and one after the other. So either way, people will get the jolt and the stop sign.
Okay.
And those, I would suggest that we do, let's see, I've got numbers here from New Jersey Department of Transportation. This is something that's frustrating. I was looking for, like a manual, a design manual for these things, and I couldn't find anything. I mean, I found little bits and pieces. They had a thing from the New Jersey DOT, their design manual, which only had 3 specs for speed tables. And they're different from what I saw in Florida, but they had a 20-foot length overall one, which was for a 25-mile-an-hour speed, 22 feet for 30 miles an hour, and 25 feet for 35 miles an hour. And these are 3 feet high, and their character is a little different in that they have a 10-foot flat, where the ones in Florida were 20 feet on the flat. But they have like a longer ramp up into it. And I don't know what the difference is, but that's what we
I
have.
think I know why the longer ramp is there. I think it has something to do with the ability for bicycles to get up and over. with
The
the
ones,
longer
the
ramp.
ones in Florida, no problem.
Oh, there we
That's-
go,
that's-
problem,
yeah,
okay,
we-
because I was thinking that
We
might.
parked and we biked through all this stuff, and it's a piece of cake. But what I was gonna suggest is that on Bridge Lane, on one stop sign, we do say 20 feet. On the other one, we do a different measure. And then later on, this is our test case.
Yeah.
So later on, when we want to put them somewhere else, we'll say, well, this will work better. We have a sample, because there doesn't seem to be any samples of that. I mean, there is one at Tanger, which Rhodey found. And that's a rubber, or no, that's pavers, I think.
Pavers, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm,
But That's it, really.
Where is it at? Where?
It's in Tanger 2. They just put it in, I just sort of, they put it in this summer.
Yeah,
It wasn't there last
anyway, that's my suggestion, to do the 5 of them at one shot. And this will give us something to build on, so when we want to go and do Hedges Lane, we'll know that, maybe as we come up to the stop sign, we want kind of a rough one, really give them a shape. When we get out in the long distance, you want to hold them down so they're not going 80. You put in a 22-footer and the people can go across, but they're not going to go nuts on it.
So, but you're putting them across the whole road,
Oh,
obviously.
yeah. Oh, yeah. So either direction, if you blow the stop sign, you're gonna get a bump before you blow it, and you're gonna get a bump after you blow it. So it'll be
Yep.
dissuade people from running the stop sign.
And during the commutes, they are totally blowing the stop
Oh, yeah.
signs.
Oh, yeah.
And they're passing people on the double line, which blows my
Oh, my
mind.
God,
Oh.
I got
Oh.
passed so many times.
This
And
summer.
I was going
Yeah.
30. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So speeding, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I got passed a lot in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
So if it's okay, Bill and I'll go out, we'll kind of
yeah, that's fine.
do up little things, say this is where we think it go, and then when the engineer comes back, we'll send it off to him and start to get
Yeah.
numbers on it.
And could we see CSAC school? They get very excited when we include them in. And,
When we get to the point where we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
and know what we're doing.
yeah,
Mhm.
they really are looking forward to always working with us and I think that's a plus.
All right, so Bill and I'll come up with something at the next meeting, we can take a look, and then when our engineer friend comes back from Greece, well, whoever's there, he may not be the guy who does this.
I think he is, but they
Yeah.
maybe have some bits, but I'll,
Oh, can we talk about what we're gonna say for these bumps? We're not gonna say hump ahead, are we?
Just put balls. This is a minimum.
Bump ahead,
Yeah,
minimum,
minimum.
because
Yeah.
Patchogue had hump ahead.
Oh, I know.
No, this is.
And we just have to make it a little bit
And we're
more.
having a harbor.
No, they did something.
No, they had signs, but they were
Yeah.
smaller.
Just
Patchogue
this
signs I could have read without my glasses.
there's a lot of parking.
Yeah.
We can't see the signs on the
That
Saturday.
was in Bermuda, Bermuda signs of slow hump.
And, we just don't want the sign to become the attraction and, yeah.
People steal the sign. and-
Yeah, well, the Patchogue signs were huge. They were just like
Yeah,
disruptively huge.
right.
And I didn't like the language, but they were just too big. It goes back to the little old country look. We don't want a sign so big that it becomes like, what did that say?
Let's see, truck signage at the bridge.
Wait a minute,
hopefully.
Bill, could you just
Oh,
back up to
what are they?
that? So the crosswalk at post office,
Well,
You may
let
have
that
to
sit for a moment. I mean, oh, the sign.
the sign.
Oh, okay.
So I did,
And it needs painting.
I did contact the highway department and they don't have
Oh,
they don't have these type of signs that you put in the middle of the road.
right.
Bridgehampton has them, but that's paid for by a private citizen.
Oh, okay.
And I'm thinking, that's dumb, why do you have them? But they don't have the business areas in the town, they're all in the villages or the hamlet of
Oh, I
Bridgehampton.
see.
So
Yeah.
I guess they really don't have them. Anyway, I did find this one. Is that what it was that you were looking to do? This goes in the middle of the
What
street.
did that go for?
This one is 200, I mean, I haven't done
Yeah.
any research, but this particular one is
I mean, I went to Amazon and they have them for $210.
about $221 for 1 to 2, and then you get 3 to 4, it goes down to $216.90.
Well, we're gonna
And
need
it's got
backups because people are
Yeah.
gonna plow them
And it's
over.
got the rubber base for it.
Bunch of.
So-
No, that doesn't look like one you could run over. The other one they had at Amazon.
Oh, they can run over
You
it.
They
can
run
go-
over
Oh,
it.
they can?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
they
they
do.
will.
We've seen it.
But if you want, I will look into this particular one that shows the base and look at what it is. And order them if you want, we can install them
They
down.
just sit
They
on the
just sit,
surface of the
Yeah,
pavement.
which
Yep,
means they'll get
yep.
wiped out
They
for
were there
sure.
a few years ago. We had them.
They
and
were.
somebody killed them. They
Yeah.
drove over them.
And the highway department put them in, so I'm not.
Oh, they
quite sure.
did?
Yeah.
I thought maybe
They got it.
the guy that had the store.
We should remind the town to repaint that crosswalk
I will.
Because they do the school ones, but they don't seem to remember the
I'm
story.
gonna have, I'm gonna talk to Charlie, I did speak with him yesterday, and I'm just gonna ask him to make sure that he doesn't have these, but I was told they don't have them.
Yeah, okay.
I wanted to bring up, we're finished with that one, another sign thing that came up, that our engineer actually proposed that I really agree with. So the V at, Hedges Lane.
Oh, the
People
yield
know-
sign.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
really.
no, I'm on board with it, sure.
And I want, because Carrie was saying, no, don't put it
Yeah, I
there.
know,
It has
I
to
know.
go here.
Yeah,
The
right.
yield sign has to go here so people know what to do, and you
Right.
can't have one over on the right-hand side and these people don't see it. It has to go where Jim said,
In the triangle.
yes.
Yeah, right, no, exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so you want,
Because I've been like, who goes? You go. I
Yeah,
don't."
right, right.
Nobody
No,
knows.
it's very dangerous.
It's really dangerous.
okay, so that's a consensus of the
Yep,
board to
that's-
have that installed. Then
Absolutely,
We'll do a
yeah.
resolution to, you have to amend the B and T code,
Ah, okay.
just like you did with the stop signs, it's the
I'll
same thing
make
with the
the
yield sign.
resolution. Do I have a
Nope,
second?
nope, just a minute, you'll have it next
Oh.
week at your board meeting.
Yeah,
And
that's
it'll
right,
be-
okay.
Don't be jumping ahead of me, Bill.
Okay. Is that sign delivered, that price, or that's plus freight?
I didn't, I just literally pulled it off, so this
I
would,
mean, if we
this
get
would also
reimbursed,
include, the delivery as well. If we can get reimbursed from.
well, I mean, my son has an Amazon account. It
So
comes
do we.
free. Oh, okay. good.
Yeah, so do we. So like I
Okay.
said, this was the first thing I pulled, so
Yeah,
I'll have Abby just dig into it to see what's the best price in other
Right,
places, but I
okay.
wanted to get something to make
Yeah.
sure I know what you were talking about.
yeah, no, that's it.
And I'll let you know before I order it, how much it is. I'll bring it back to you next
Okay.
next week.
Truck signing at the bridges, probably that's something we'll just pay a sign company to do. You know, the
Well-
arrow, truck detour, the people want that.
So,
Oh,
did you see the sign that the highway department put up
Yeah, the
at
new one.
the railroad bridge?
yeah, but you're already up to the bridge. Those
So,
tracks don't back
That is
up.
an issue.
Yeah,
They did put it up though, so you have to give them a B for putting it up.
yeah, right,
So I did talk to the superintendent yesterday, and I mentioned to him that we should probably get out and look at that intersection, because they did put the stop signs up today, but there's a lot of signs there. And yes, that bridge sign is literally at the bottom of the bridge, so it's not gonna work
right.
because you're already on the bridge. And I also said to him, and on the other side, which is not in our district, but still, you need to move that back because their bypass has to go down
Sure.
Middle Line Highway. And so he and I are gonna meet
Oh, okay,
to just look at all those signs there and make sure that they're all in the right spot, because they're just not. So they did put the sign up with the G, the gross weight, but they put it in the wrong spot. So,
and
he and I
I think
will-
the share the road and the bike sign, they can come out, they do nothing,
that's what I was thinking.
yeah.
Bill,
people
is that
ignore
we could get some of those signs out of there, move the truck sign up, put the detour to the sign,
Yeah.
so it's in the right area, and kind of clean that.
I think the
Yeah,
detour
yeah.
sign would be very important for both bridges, because people don't know where to go. And like Marilyn said, her husband on his bike drove someone around,
Right,
you know,
Bus,
a
yeah.
big bus. This morning, and this has nothing to do with the horse show, obviously, people bringing in their rigs at 6:10 this morning came over those bridges trailing, I don't know how many wheels when you're trailing
yeah,
one of those rigs, but I have a feeling it was over tonnage.
Well,
oh,
and one
yeah,
horse is 2 tons.
Yeah, so I was like, whoa.
So one ton or
Do you
whatever.
remember if they put the signs up down at Sag Bridge on Bridge Lane? I didn't, I'm not down there, so I don't know.
What sign was it?
The ones that say GP.
Yes.
Yes, they're up,
They are, the black and white signs.
yes.
Okay, so I will talk to the superintendent to get those placed properly and then get the detour signs back. But the thing is, where do we put the detour in our village for Bridge Lane?
it's gotta
gotta
be a
be-
seascape, just a sign that says no trucks over this way beyond this point. And
Well,
they
but
can-
we
they
gotta
can-
get them at the beginning of Bridge Lane, we can't let them go
They
down
can't
Bridge
turn
Lane.
onto Bridge.
So they've gotta go
They
down
can
Sag
turn around
Road.
the seascape. They
Yeah,
can
but that's
pull
not
it,
the
pull it
idea.
back up and go out.
It's,
But that's not a detour sign though, Bill, you can't have all those trucks zipping down
You can't just have a sign that says no trucks beyond this point.
Now you need a detour, so if you put
You
sign
send
up
them
at
to the beach
Sagaponic
or-
Road that says truck route, right, Brian, that's what we'd have to do.
You'd have to have something beforehand, that they have the,
Yeah.
even if it's outside the village.
Yeah, so on the other side, it's fine, because they can shush down Highland Terrace.
You have to give them an option for a left or a right. You can't, a sign can't encourage an illegal traffic maneuver.
Exactly,
Oh, I
so we
see.
can't just tell them, go find a place to turn around, but you're not allowed to go any further.
And a lot of them can't turn around.
At Bridge Lane, it
Doesn't.
doesn't work in our side of Bridge Lane because they can only go straight to Sag Beach then.
Right, so there's gotta be, the truck detour sign has to go at, if they're coming down Sag Main, it's gotta go at Sagaponic Road. And then you've gotta capture the ones coming off of Crestview, Gibson and Hedges to have a truck
Them
up
turning,
to-
go out of town.
What about a sign that says no through trucks beyond this point? I mean, is that,
It's
still
a
got to tell
projection.
where to go.
It'll say, yeah, you'll have to give them a left, right to go somewhere.
yeah,
And then it can say, no trucks over 5,000 pounds except mobile deliveries or something along those lines.
which is what the code says.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you'd have to put the detour signs at Gibson and Cemetery
right,
and at Hedges and Sag Main, and then put the detour signs at Sagaponic Road.
right,
That would capture all the roads coming for the bridge.
a lot of signs.
A lot of signs.
Carrie's
Yeah.
not gonna like.
Well, I think we could eliminate some of our other signs. Though. In other words, you don't need no parking sign on Gretchen Topping's lawn on that corner because nobody could park there if they wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are some ways of eliminating some, because going around that corner, there's those huge, big old trees. There's no way you're gonna park there, unless you're really creative. I don't know, but I think you can eliminate
I
things.
will meet with, and if anybody else would like to join us to go out, Charles, and go figure all this out.
You're the road man, Bill.
I don't know when we're gonna do it, I just talked to him yesterday. and he
Yeah.
said-
Yeah.
We all have side
He said
jobs.
sometime next week.
Since we're the last thing, is that, I think when they originally put up the 15-mile-an-hour speed zones, they put them on the wrong side of the street, so it's like way after the school, you've got a 15
No,
mile
there's
an
a
hour.
radius from the school.
I know, but it's going the wrong way, it's
13.
supposed to be on the side where you're going towards the school.
Oh, you mean
And
it's going away?
away.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
it's at the end of
I've
the
noticed that for a
radius.
really long time, haven't said anything, but now that we're talking about signs and there might be some changes. There's, just to notice the 15-mile, I know there's a huge radius, but it's going in the wrong, just on the wrong side.
Okay.
On both sides,
North
yeah.
on Sag
It's
Main.
going north on Sag
That's
Main,
the
way
slope.
after.
That's the slow down for Carrot State.
Okay, well, I guess probably because it's still within the zone, that's why they did it.
It's
It's the mirror
at
of
the
the
end
other
of the
side.
zone,
So-
right.
So it's
It's
a
at the end
mirror,
of
but it
the
doesn't make
zone.
any sense in a limited speed zone, that they would have the limited speed zone into the new speed zone.
Right. So
Yeah,
can you
it's-
take it down?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good,
Yeah.
there we go.
Yeah, if it's placed on the outer.
When you're leaving a limited speed zone, you shouldn't have a sign as you're leaving it.
Right.
It's when you're coming into it.
Right.
But the highway department probably just messed up their work order because they do put up the mirrors, 25 and 25, if they're going both ways. But if it's leaving a special zone,
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Good, there
Yeah.
we go.
Sign elimination.
I think we could eliminate some signs along the way.
I'll open the list.
And I still think we would be improving by adding the other things. we're talking about.
I agree.
Yeah,
Okay, famous stop line
Bridge
on
Lane?
the bridge.
there we go.
And the stop lines have great view. Like you can see down the side road. And when I came over early this afternoon, I was stopped coming over the bridge. Somebody was stopped the other way and somebody was stopped on Seascape. It was awesome. And the Seascape guy goes to both of us, you first, like they were actually taking turns. I was the best guy.
Unusual.
Trying to get out there.
Let's see, I'm still turning on right of way encroachments, but we'll leave that for the moment. I'm gonna talk to the tree committee and see if some of the branches and stuff that hang out, maybe they can put it on their list. But let's just skip over that for now.
But does that mean the town line one?
Well, this also, I just wanted to let you know that this highway did start to clear down Town Line Road.
Oh, good.
They did clear some of it down south of Daniels. And I am working on getting the letters out to the Town Line residents, as you had requested
Great.
last month. So I,
Did the metal thing come out yet?
and the metal thing came out, that's the other thing I wanted to update you on, to Town Line Road. The owners had moved their fence. Then we finally, last week, removed the piping and the highway department cleaned off the, you know, all the brush down there. And then, if you see in your packet as well, the, and actually, there's two things in there. One is the stop signs. The town.
East Hampton Town, yeah, I saw that.
The public hearing on September 1st to install those stop signs that mirror ours.
That's wonderful.
And then the resolution that you did for our stop signs will be installed once in coordination with those, so they won't be installed until September, assuming this gets passed.
Yeah, that's good. It's quicker than I thought. I thought it
I
was
was-
gonna drag on
I was
forever.
impressed.
Now, I think Peter Van Scoyac was focused when he was here and we were focused and I think everybody's on the same page
That's
on the
great.
stop signs.
That's great.
And then the other is the parking down at the end of Town Line. There's also a public hearing on September 1st for that, to restrict the parking to 60 feet. So there's gonna be from the end of the road in 60 feet, there'll be no parking allowed on the East Hampton side.
That's
So that
great.
will
If you wanna
get
put
that
somebody else in
congested
case to turn around.
at the end there. So hopefully-
It allows
So that-
fire trucks, stops and emergency
Public
vehicles to have
first.
now to get around without being jammed in by the parkers.
We had a request, hopefully you saw, to install a pollinator garden at the village hall.
Yes.
And
I think that's
yeah,
nice.
that's a good idea. Just, you know, how big and, I mean, if somebody's gonna do this on their own from
Well,
self-fund or?
this is the start. I talked to Christina. Abby in my office is, this is her background. So she'd be more than welcome to, happy to work with whomever. I also mentioned the school. Perhaps the
Oh, right.
school would be involved in it. And as you can see, there are organizations that can help out.
Right.
So
I think that's such a great idea.
we'll get a little committee.
The school has
Christine is also on
experience.
the tree committee.
They
So-
do a garden with
Yeah.
Madhu in the
Exactly.
back corner of the school every year. So the kids are used to having a gardening
Yep.
time and working on stuff. So that would be exciting, I think. for them.
So I'll work with Christina, Abby and I will work with her to get a group together and get this, we'll figure just.
Where do they want to put it?
Just up in the front,
In the front?
Oh, the front.
How big is it?
Okay.
it can be as little as, because that was my question too, is there enough room here? And she said, it can be small, it can be big. We can kind of sort of have something here that we planted, but it's certain, you know,
Certain
plants
local
that,
plants
exactly.
That,
um,
Is it
attract
for
the,
bees
for
and?
bees and insects that the birds eat, because the
Yeah.
bird population is really suffering.
Oh,
So they need these
it must
insects.
be
and
all at my house.
You're lucky.
well, the birds. So this is the beginning, if that's okay. I mean, I don't know the
Yeah.
exact
No,
spot
I
that
mean,
it can be, but I figured someplace out front would be nice to.
I
put
think
it.
it's a great
Right.
idea.
And it just can't turn into a weed patch. It has to be
Exactly.
something that's
Right.
maintainable.
Mhm.
I think the pollinator gardens are very thick, so they.
Yeah, everything gets bittersweet, and Virginia creeper and all that, and eventually.
Right, but even like the milkweed is great for the butterflies, and that takes over everything. I used to have a really pretty garden and my, and now I just let the milkweed grow and, you know, well, it's not big and I have 2 monarchs every year, but,
Yeah.
you know, they're almost extinct, so,
Right.
yeah, it's nice.
We have a lot of milkweeds on Gibson Lane in the preserve field.
Yes. that's
And they aren't doing their required that we had put in the subdivision of the preserve field, the once a year mowing. But they actually do it at the right time. I don't know if.
After the,
Yeah,
thank goodness.
Right.
so it's really good that we have a lot of that milkweed in there, which is
I've
kind of cool.
noticed, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I wish that we could do more of that with projected space, but not us, but.
Well, I don't know, maybe I know Abby Dietz, that's two last names, I'm making it sound like a name. Maybe the homeowners that he's in charge of for that actually know this, but they are doing it correctly. So that's cool.
Very happy.
Do you need a motion so Christina can start doing some homework on this?
No, you're not spending any money, so we're just gonna
Okay.
get this.
We'll
going.
tell her we're
Tell her
supportive.
that, right, yeah. So, we'll work with her and see where we end up.
Town Line Road parking. Well, Rhoda's working on getting letters out to people about clearing the right of way. And eventually, I guess September, we'll get the engineer in to take a look and
Right.
come up with a design, a bid document. And we'll go from there.
Great.
Did you want to jump in at this point in time or anything, or you're just
No,
listening?
I don't think there hasn't really been any work done yet based on everything we talked about.
Yeah.
We have a clear, but when I got invited, I haven't been to one of these, so
Oh,
it's
okay.
helpful just to listen, but I didn't come for any reason, just to.
You stayed awake so far, so.
I'm in the game, I'm talking about, I'm learning things.
And we don't have visitors very often, so we're very happy
So
you're here.
you're special.
I'm glad to be here.
You know? So it's great that you came. We always get excited to actually, well, Alice doesn't count. We're used to you being here, but I mean, to have someone that we haven't previously had here is really great. Makes
Well,
us happy.
I expressed to the mayor that this is a very special place. A very, very special place, and has been for a long time. And many people that I know a lot of residents in Sagaponack that I don't think have any idea how to engage and connect with actually what's going on. So
I agree.
part of what I talked about with the mayor and Rhodey was how to start working to engage people in a more productive way for the immediate things like the road safety and things like the 100-year celebration. My wife was not a huge fan of the bathing suit concept, but
All right.
but I have other ideas.
Yeah, good.
But anyway, that's why I'm here. I've been a longtime resident of Sagaponack, and I'm building a new home on Daniels Lane with my wife. But unfortunately also experienced a tragic loss due to a highway accident down in Florida. And that was the impetus for my involvement. So I'm happy to be here and support all of you in whatever I can do. And again, I think there's a lot of people in Sagaponack that I know that don't have any idea
Right.
what's going on, what the issues are. And the things you're talking about are very, real issues for the integrity of the place.
Jeff Tannenbaum wasn't in
Yeah,
that.
he's been, no, he was not,
You
but
met him.
we've connected
I
the
just,
group.
yeah, I took a high
Because
level
he
view.
has a list when we were working on the road situation of
Yeah.
paving. He had quite an extensive list of residents. And there is actually, Crestview has Mr., I'm gonna pronounce it,
Spanhouse.
Spanhouse, okay. Actually, that group has met as a road together. And there could be other roads that people meet, take once a year about whatever they meet about. And I think those lists will be easily gotten,
Right.
but Mr. Spanhouse should have that list. If not,
I saw the list.
oh, good.
Yeah.
If not, I know one of my neighbors.
And I'm gonna help however I can, because I could know 30 to 40 different people who then all know their neighbors and help fill out, get behind the LLCs and figure out real people who we have interest. So anyway, that's what I'm.
He's getting out the message that we want to be known as the village with the slowest drivers on one line.
I think I'm all down with that. Oh my God. If I get past one more time on Daniel's Lane, I was turning into.
Well, you have to drive a farm tractor that takes up the whole
Oh,
road.
I have a big car. I mean, I don't have a tiny car, but it's like every time I want to try to turn into the driveway on Daniels, you know, to drop grandkids off or whatever, it's just like, they start passing you as soon as you put your blinker. It's like, do I put it on 4 feet before it break and go? You know? Everybody wants to get somewhere fast.
Let's see, financial things. Is there something here we need to look at before the next, well, everybody needs to look
Right,
at it.
everybody needs to look at it, and so then you will then report on it next week, to have
Yeah.
give you the vouchers, and
Okay,
that's when you'll actually take action.
committee reports. Am I going too fast? Okay. Committee
And
reports.
actually, just go back up to the 100th anniversary, I didn't know if you wanted to. We need to mention
Committee for the
anything, do you
100th
want a
anniversary.
committee? You
Yeah,
know,
we
I
need
spoke
somebody
with
who's,
Jim about it today. Do you want to start that, you know, before you know, it's gonna be
Well, the
September
target is,
2023. So,
September 16, 2023. And,
So
yeah,
now-
and if there's somebody who's got some go and some enthusiasm that people will follow. That's-
Christina Martin at Madhu puts on the most amazing Halloween parties or whatever they're trying to do there. And she might be a good go-to person. She might be upset that I said that, but I think you need that kind of,
family
Well,
following
that's,
order.
I mean, I'll do whatever I have to do, but I don't think I'm the person to promote it.
well, I think we also deal with so many other things. It
Yeah.
needs to be,
Jim has some good ideas.
I just,
We just
so
touched on it.
I'm not the person, but I
and I'm not either.
but I do know several who could be, and I guess the bigger questions would be, what is your vision? Meaning, is it just a gathering? Is it a gathering with a specific theme? Is it something that we would want to raise money or awareness or something around? There's lots of ideas around that, but what I was explaining was that you know, one of our residents who I know is a very well-renowned party event planner who does these things in her sleep. And I can't imagine wouldn't be thrilled to be involved on a gratis basis to work with the town to come up with something really special and unique. I haven't discussed it with her at all. But I have some other thoughts. And then one other thing that pops into my mind based on what you just said is the Wolfer in October, they always have a beautiful, you know, event there and everything. I don't know, maybe that would be a good location, or I know you wanted to put something by the bridge. But the questions are, what exactly?
I
are you
think
looking
Joey
for?
Wolfers and Max would probably like to be involved without a question. And I think we've had things about the bridge all along that we don't have collected into one place. That bridge has been painted by numerous artists over the years, including your mother.
No,
No,
I don't think so.
you don't think so?
No, the
Because she
one
did
I
other
have is from
places.
a friend of hers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying that that alone would be a fascinating exhibit and would probably have to be done here as part of that day of
I love that
bridge
idea.
painting.
That's such a good idea, Lisa.
It's my art background, and I just think, you know, Bob Dash did it. I'm sure there's, you know, if I did some Googling, I could come up.
Angry.
King Green did it, right? There are a
Winter
lot
and
of,
spring.
right, you know, Bob Siegfried did it from Bridgehampton, my husband's painted it 3 times, you know, there's just a bunch, and, oh, what was her name? Lisa Polinas, who was an artist around here, and, I'm sure if, and again, I would ask the people at Madhu, because they kind of have that artist connection here. I bet we'd come up with a list of probably 20 or 30 different artists that we could do some kind of display here. And I would feel we'd have to do it here due to safety angle of the artwork. But, and then, you know, we also should sell memorabilia. You know, when SAG School,
What is the
scholarship.
benefit for the scholarship?
yeah, fun. I don't know if they sold out of them, but the hats,
They did. Alexandra, I
Yeah, I
just had to
figured.
do another order
Order.
because they were sold out.
I bought two of the hat. The bags with the actual original school look on it and the sweatshirts and some of that stuff. The same thing can be done for the bridge and, I think, all that is just part of our history. And, I once heard someone tell me they were, randomly in an airport and saw one of those bags. I mean, it gives us an identity.
Well, in Martha's Vineyard in Nantucket, there's a lot of commercial, and I'm not saying that Sagaponic gets commercialized, but I'm saying there's a lot of support for that kind of stuff. In fact, I was going to present to Rhodey a couple of drafts of hats and shirts that I thought for this community to start with, in advance of the 100.
That's nice.
But then the other idea is, based on what you're saying, is there's no reason why it shouldn't be, a couple of things, a bridge thing, and the more people and the more perspectives. But I mean, certainly, I would think that an event that has community connection where people can connect with each other in this small community is relevant, but then it could be other things.
We don't have a lot of specific Sagaponic charities, but the Sag School charity for the scholarship fund for graduates not graduates of the actual school, but graduates when they get out of high school. But if they have attended, they already have the stuff.
Sally Peterson, oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Sally Peterson, they already have the rights to use, the picture on the bag and all that stuff. And that was drawn by a Sagaponic resident and years ago, I don't know, in the 1980s. So all that stuff could be incorporated that they could have a presence in this event too, because the bridge is historic, the school is historic, and I wouldn't guarantee the store could be done by then, because who knows? Construction is construction. So, but I would love to involve Sally Peterson group as part of this too. And
Sure.
maybe instead of, they don't have to do their Memorial Day event, or they could do both, but they could have a presence at the bridge event too.
Right.
I have a
Because,
suggestion. Why don't you all send me your ideas?
oh, okay.
Put them in writing and then we can figure out which, bring them all together, figure out which ones you want to do to start the.
And I'd love to get my friend Jennifer Gilbert, who's the owner of the house on, Old Farm.
Okay.
And have her come in the end of the summer and sit down, much the way we had the meeting last week, and just brainstorm these ideas to help figure out.
And that's what I'm saying, if we can get some ideas out of what the board envisions it to be, then we can take those and start to fine tune.
And I think involving the non-for-profits we have, Madu and the Sally Peterson Scholarship Fund and some of the other things, we don't have a lot around here. And that actually are based here. And include them into the celebration. That way that more local landowners or summer home owners start to see some of the year-round things that go on.
I think it's a really good idea. I love that. My husband was talking about also at one point just making almost a welcome book to Sagaponic so people knew what Sagaponic was about. And he does books, so he'd be able to help with any layout and things or photography. But I thought it was a really good idea. I didn't know how to implement it. I've never brought it up before, but since we're talking about this now, he had a pretty clear vision about it. It's like people don't know, it's like almost like branding the village and what we are, what we're about. We have amazing history.
Do you have any of the books of some of the women's groups have done over history?
Yes.
Oh, good, okay, so you got a
Yep.
starting. point.
And I have the SAG School 100th anniversary from the 1980s book, which old graduates wrote back about experiences and pictures
That's wonderful.
and I, because at the time, my children were in the school and I was on the board, but that book could be incorporated too, because it really went back to the old days. There were still people in their 90s in the 1980s that almost were original, when it was a K-8. Well, there probably was no kindergarten back in that day, 1 through 8 school, which is crazy. One teacher teaching 1 through 8th grade.
Okay, so we got something to work on. What
Let's
else?
try to have a meeting with all of us in the fall. I think the fall's the best option.
Yeah, figure
It's
it
so
out.
busy now.
Send
I
me
mean,
what your ideas, put them in writing, and then we'll go from there.
Oh, committee reports, you were.
You have anything special? Zoning board hasn't met yet.
Zoning board is meeting this coming Friday and it has one thing on the agenda. A new item, which is 110 Sand Dune Court, and it's about raising the house to 46 feet. Very similar to the agenda item we had a couple months ago, which is somewhat contiguous in that line of houses on the ocean, but it was on the Sagamine address side. So that's brand new. We'll see how it goes. The architectural committee met July 25th. They haven't yet met for this month. And they had one of the shortest agendas I've seen in like forever. And the committee for two approved a pergola at 770 Sagamine. 778 Sagamine didn't get the color samples in on time, so they just actually arrived, Pat told me, so that might get approved moment before or in the August agenda. 397 Sagamine is the house on the corner of Parsonage and Sagamine, the historic house. It was approved, the construction, which also includes the demolition of the back existing cottage and the pool house that aren't historic. And all the addition on the, I think it's like 5 acres, comes off the historic house. So the front on Sagamine is going to look the same. And it was approved by the skin of its teeth in a 3-2 vote, which is kind of interesting. But the historic qualities were maintained. And John Lackey, the architect, this is a Lisa opinion, not. I felt in the addition part made it look like the original part.
That's great.
So visually to me, that looked good. 629 Hedges Lane driveway gates was adjourned to next time. And then the last one is 53 Hedges Lane. This is Michael Johnson's old house for next to the Lockheims. And the people behind it purchased it, contiguously behind it. And it is historically registered, the house. And they want to renovate it. It will look the same on the street. And it's in a separate ownership, though it contiguously connects to their other property. And they're going to make it into an exercise studio. And this was a discussion item, so these things were kind of being thrown out there. Building a new 2-story wooden frame dwelling and relocating the existing garage. The existing garage is not historically on the left as you come in. And they also talked about in this discussion, moving it, the existing driveway to the more toward the Lockheim side. Anyway, that has to now formally be put in an application and put in front of the board. And what I thought was interesting, if you'd ever been inside the house, and I was a lot as a child and knew Michael as an adult, the ceilings were so low and crazy, and they came, I guess they actually, it's gonna look the same on the outside, but they're actually framing it like a barn on the inside
Oh,
to give it the height, because that house, I mean, I'm not that tall, you might have had trouble in that house. So, it was
did you
interesting,
say that house is gonna be their gym?
yes.
And they're proposing to put another house on the property though.
On the, in the back.
Right. On the same.
But I was
property in the
talking
back.
more about the
Right,
historical
right.
part, yeah. The historical part will be a gym and will look the same from the road. Except on the inside, all that cut up, it was really tiny rooms and I feel like it could have been 7 feet or 6.5 feet in some places, so
You didn't need more than you needed back then.
you didn't. And that's that.
Was there any proposal to move it back or just the same footprint right there where?
But remember, this was discussion, they could actually bring that up when they file their application, but discussion wise, it wasn't brought up. I think to save money on architects, we've had this happen on the one on Bridge Lane and also the house that just got their permit on the corner of Parsonage and Saguenay. They're coming to the architecture board first and getting a feeling before they try to redesign it, because the cost of redesigning a historical house can be more than building a new house. So they're getting a feeling for what they're going to be allowed to do before they put down their application. It's funny, in the last 2 years, I feel like we've had more historical houses come up, which to me means that maybe that, you know, Don Lockheim used to say we're running out of empty small lots. And I don't mean small, 2 acres being small, but, you know, building lots. So the historical homes are being purchased. Dan Nalen's house finally got purchased. That was a long time coming.
Yeah,
So we're seeing the historical houses being purchased and respectfully restored, which is good to know. So far, so good.
how old is that historical house? What, how many years?
Oh, Michael Johnson's?
No, just in general, what makes it historical?
Oh, 100.
100.
I think.
Oh, okay.
Oh, mine will be the same.
That's kind of.
It doesn't fall.
It'll get there.
Well, maybe
It depends
eventually
on-
all the ranches that everybody rips down all over and builds different houses, you know? Yeah, exactly. And eventually they'll be 100 years old, ranches, you know? I mean, I'm just pointing out one that we've had, how many demolition permits in Sag over ranches? And those smaller homes?
Let's keep moving. Bill,
Sorry.
anything about?
No, just that, well, you and I will take a look at the
Okay,
speed tables.
whatever they are,
Where, yeah.
asphalt pumps.
I haven't looked at the one in Sag Harbor yet.
Okay, yeah,
I'll check that out.
yep. Yeah, see, you just look at your speedometer when you go.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Marilyn, anything special going on?
Just that the cut was open.
Oh, that's such good news.
Fantastic.
See how far it drains down?
Yes.
It's draining.
You have anything else?
No,
Okay. I guess we'll set a new meeting date, next Wednesday.
Yep, you got your next
Okay.
board meeting at next Wednesday, the 17th at 2 p.m.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Hot.
Okay.
Great. Good job, Bill.